Come on in, take a deep breath, leave the ordinary behind. Welcome to the place where every fragrance comes to life. What if I told you one of history's greatest military leaders wasn't an emperor, wasn't a queen, and wasn't even the commander of an official navy? She began life with almost nothing, yet thousands of hardened pirates followed her commands without question. Governments feared her, and navies couldn't defeat her. And when her enemies finally realized they could not conquer her, they did something almost unheard of. They negotiated with her. Today, our journey takes us to meet one of history's most extraordinary women. Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Misty's Musings, where fragrance tells a story and every story becomes a journey through time. I'm Misty. So, where will fragrance take us today? Okay, let's begin our journey. Our time traveler guide is Ching Shih. Our destination is southern China. Warm ocean air fills every breath. The scent of salt drifts across crowded harbors. Ships arrive carrying tea and silk and rare spices, fine porcelain, and treasures from distant lands. Hundreds of crimson sails stretch across the sea. Merchants whisper nervously, not because a storm is coming, but because somewhere beyond the horizon, one woman controls these waters, and her name is Ching Shih. She is the woman who ruled the sea. History often remembers colorful pirates like Blackbeard and Captain Kidd, but few people realize the most successful pirate of all was a woman. After marrying pirate captain Xing Yi, Ching Shih quickly proved herself far more than a captain's wife. When Xing Yi died unexpectedly, many believed the pirate confederation would collapse. Instead, she united rival fleets, negotiated alliances, established strict discipline, and built one of the largest pirate fleets in recorded history. Historians estimate that between 50 and 70,000 pirates sailed under her command aboard hundreds of ships. Think about that for a moment. Entire governments struggle to command forces that large. Yet one woman earned the loyalty of thousands, not through fear alone, but through intelligence and strategy and leadership. One of my favorite things about Ching Shih's story is that she understood something many leaders never do. Power without order never lasts. She created detailed laws governing every member of her fleet. Loot had to be shared fairly. Villagers who cooperated were often protected. Women taken captive were not to be abused, and those who violated that rule faced severe punishment. Every decision strengthened her organization. She wasn't creating chaos. She was building a nation at sea. So, one question I always ask whenever I experience a Xarmony fragrance is, why this story? Out of all the incredible people throughout history, why did Trill choose Ching Shih? As I have spent time exploring the world of Xarmony perfumes, one thing has become very clear to me. This isn't simply a fragrance house built around beautiful scents. It's a fragrance house built around extraordinary stories. And something else has stood out to me again and again. We meet remarkable women: Artemisia, Athena, and now Ching Shih. That is not an accident. One of the things I've always admired about Trill is his genuine respect for strong women. Throughout the Xarmony collection, you can see that reflected in the historical figures and legends he chooses to honor. These women weren't chosen because they were just famous. They were chosen because they demonstrated courage, intelligence, resilience, and leadership. To me, Ching Shih perfectly represents that spirit. She refused to let her circumstances define her future. She rewrote the story the world expected her to live. And now, through fragrance, her story is being told all over again. Now, let's experience Ching Shih through fragrance. When I first read these notes, I found myself asking, how do you capture one of history's most powerful women inside of a bottle? The answer surprised me. Xarmony didn't create a fragrance that smells like smoke, gunpowder, or rough seas. Instead, Trill captured what came after the storm. The fragrance opens with peach wine and peach rum. Immediately, I picture celebration, not reckless celebration, earned celebration. A woman standing on the deck of her flagship after another successful voyage, confident, composed, victorious. Then comes that saffron. For centuries, saffron has been one of the world's most treasured spices. Warm and golden and rare, it instantly reminds me of valuable cargo crossing the South China Sea. Silks, precious spices, and unimaginable wealth. So then the vanilla begins wrapping everything in quiet luxury. To me, it represents confidence, the kind that doesn't need to announce itself, the kind that has already proven itself. Finally, tonka bean and golden honey, and that rich sugar melt together into something warm, comforting, and deeply luxurious. These aren't notes of survival, they are notes of prosperity. Because unlike most pirates, Ching Shih didn't die in battle. She chose peace. She retired on her own terms. She raised a family and lived to enjoy everything she had built. And that's exactly what I smell right here. Not the battle, the victory. We love some victory and Xarmony. If this fragrance were frozen in time, it wouldn't be the roar of cannons. It wouldn't be a fierce battle on stormy seas. Instead, I imagine the sun settling over calm waters. Crimson sails flutter gently in the evening breeze. Golden lanterns glow across polished wooden decks, and silk banners dance overhead. Treasure chests overflow with spices, jade, fine porcelain, and shimmering corns. The air is sweet with ripe peaches, golden honey, and warm vanilla, and that exotic saffron. At the center of it all stands Ching Shih. A crystal goblet of peach wine rests in her hands. She isn't preparing for war. She is simply looking out over the sea that she has conquered, knowing she earned every moment of peace before her. One reason I love this fragrance so much is because it completely changes what strength looks like. Strength isn't always loud. Sometimes strength comes in quietly. Strength is wisdom. Strength is patience. And sometimes it's choosing discipline over chaos. Sometimes it's refusing to let your past determine your future. Ching Shih reminds us that our beginning doesn't have to define our ending. So, before we leave, it's time to place something in our time traveler's capsule. Today, I'm placing the courage to write your own story. No matter where life begins, your future will always be yours to write. Today's treasure is courage, not reckless courage, but the courage to become more than anyone ever expected. And now it is your turn. If you could place one treasure inside our time traveler capsule, meaning in like Ching Shih's stuff, what would it be? What would you choose? Would you choose courage, leadership, resilience, wisdom, or something entirely of your own? If you'll leave your treasure in the comments, I would love to read all about it, because every time traveler's edition becomes something meaningful to our journey. So I want to thank you so much for joining me on another adventure through history. One of the things I love most about Xarmony Perfumes is that each bottle invites us to discover something remarkable. We don't just experience a fragrance, we meet the people, the legends, the moments that inspired it. And I think that's what makes this journey so special. So, until next time, keep wondering, keep exploring, and remember, history never is as far away as it seems, because somewhere another extraordinary fragrance is already waiting to take us on our next journey through time. Thank you for spending a little time with me today. If you enjoyed today's fragrance adventure, I'd love to have you back. Subscribe, ring the bell, and become part of our fragrance family. Until next time, may your days be filled with beautiful fragrances, and remember, you're always welcome here, where every fragrance comes to life.